Hey, what's up, Cyclone Nation? We're here at Jack Trice Stadium in the Jacobson Building. Chris Williams, Austen Arnaud just got done watching the 2012 Iowa State spring game, where it was the Cardinal team 13 to 7 over the Gold Austin. That was a pretty bland afternoon of football. I don't know about you, but that, I mean, really, spring games are never like edge of your seat. You're pumped up, ready to go. But this one was pretty, I want to say boring, but it was obvious to me that Paul Rhodes and Courtney Messingham, they didn't have a lot to work with on offense, meaning they weren't running a ton of plays out there today. It's pretty obvious the defense was clear on what was going on. You saw some sloppy mistakes by the quarterbacks. I don't think they played well at all. But I also don't think that you can just throw them all underneath a bus and say 2012 is going to be crap at this point. I mean, you get that read?
No, I agree. They kept it really vanilla. I think I saw one play where they ran a triple option where they faked the zone read and went to the option with the wide receiver. But other than that, very vanilla on offense. And, you know, that's kind of what you expect out of an Iowa State spring game with our defense being the way it has been. You know, the defensive battle. Quarterbacks did struggle, turn the ball over.
They didn't look that good. I don't know.
Five or six turnovers from the quarterback position, and four of those were on Steele, Sam, and JB. You know, the guys that you hope to think would win the job. But like you said, this is, and I'm sure Coach Rhodes mentioned this too. This game is hardly indicative of what's going to happen in the fall. These guys have been playing. I say this all the time. These guys have been playing against each other for the past 4 weeks, bickering, fighting. The defense knows the snap count, and they know what they're going to do. So a lot of that has to do with the defense playing well. A.J. Klein, I mean, he makes that play a lot of the time. He's done it in his career before. Jeremiah George makes a great play on that ball that I think Steele threw. It's just, it was a tough afternoon for the quarterbacks.
It was, and I think too, I mean, there weren't a lot of those turnovers weren't like, wow, that guy made a really good play on defense. I didn't see that. I mean, I think a lot of them, it was a tough day. There's not a whole lot you can say. I do think probably Jantz probably outplayed Barnett today. I think if you're going to stack those two up. Sam Richardson, you saw glimpses. Paul Rhodes just got out of his press conference. He says it's very clear that you've got the two and then you've got Richardson. But he also went on to say, Austin, that he's not counting Sam Richardson out of it at this point. They got all summer to develop, and it'll be a three-man race.
And those defensive ball coaches, they love to stir the pot.
Don't they?
When it comes to a quarterback, this thing is going to drag on forever, and I wouldn't be surprised. You know, kind of last year, remember, Jared never got X-Nate out of the three-person talk, and then Jerome ends up ineligible. So it was good to have Jared around. So I think that same type of thing is going to happen this year, where you have three quarterbacks all the way until maybe second or third week of camp.
Yeah, I completely agree with that 100%. Let's talk about a few guys who stood out to us today, some bright spots. Two guys pop out to me on defense. I thought Darrell Gibbons was phenomenal at strong safety. He was a ball hawk. He was hitting. He made a couple incredible plays that I thought. To see a guy who had to change positions, I was encouraged by that. And Jeremiah George. Paul just got done saying they don't give out spring awards.
Played a ton of reps.
Yeah, if they did, he would be the most improved guy on defense. And that's something that, you know, he played as a true freshman. He played a lot of special teams. I think a lot of fans have been waiting for him to kind of take that next step. I think you saw a glimpse of that today. Will it turn over on the field in the fall? I don't know, but he's definitely made some progress.
I also like Jeremiah George and Gibbons. A kid that stood out to me, and it was early in the first half just because he was down there matching against Josh Lenz. Sam Richardson. He had
the defensive back.
Yeah, the defensive back, the defensive Sam Richardson. They threw at him a couple of times down there, fade balls, and he was pretty good defending. You know, probably our best quote unquote wide receiver at Iowa State. So you look at where the defensive backfield has come from. You know, as far as depth, and we're in very good hands, I think, back there.
I think so, too, and that has been a recruiting priority, too. You have to in the Big 12 Conference. You got to do that. Offensively, there really wasn't a ton to sit here and drool about. I thought Chris Young showed me something at wide receiver. I thought Justin Coleman at wide receiver, who we've heard so much about, the kid from Nebraska, Omaha, he made a really nice catch there in the first quarter along the sideline, and it showed you that's not all hype. Those guys can play.
Yeah, I agree 100% with those two. Chris Young is a guy that I've seen in practice and workouts. You know, he makes plays like that. And he's from the line of scrimmage, with the exception of probably Jarvis West. He's probably the quickest off the ball, trying to get off of hands, get off the DBs. I also like, you know, as much as we talk about the quarterback, I think Sam Richardson had a pretty good day.
I do too.
And Steele, with the exceptions of their turnovers, those guys, they look pretty good, and Jared didn't look bad. It's just that those guys looked, you know, a step maybe Sam's playing against lesser competition than Jared.
Correct.
Jared only took a couple reps with the twos all day, so that says something for Jared. It's just, you know, we don't know what we're going to get out of this.
No, and Rhodes said that what you saw out there today in the spring game was not indicative of how it's been in the spring. I think that the coaches were a little bit disappointed in the quarterback play today, but again, they've been going at this for 3 weeks right now, and in the spring game is just a whole other animal. Just about wraps it up, Austin. Any other closing thoughts from you on what you saw out there today? Because keep in mind, we got all summer to hash this stuff out.
We have all summer to hash this out, and I really am very, you know, playing quarterback at the State University and very interested in the battle. I mean, everyone's going to be. That's going to be the head honcho, so to speak, as we head into the summer. But I'm very excited about what this defense brings to the table. They're athletic, they're fast, they're big.
And they didn't have Jake Knott.
They didn't have Jake Knott,
Jeremy
Jeremy Reeves. You know, and you look at without those two, probably, you know, arguably the two best players on the defense. And you know, next year I think our defense could be even better than it was last year.
Yeah. Well, think about it. You've got two All-American candidates at linebacker. I think the defensive line, they actually got some nice pressure on there today. I don't know if that was the thing about the offensive line not playing well, but David Irving, that's another guy that stood out to me. And
early especially. We
talked about in the pregame show earlier today, we were discussing maybe you need to give him another year. I don't know, man. And I know it's a spring game, and it's easy to just hype these guys up, but just his size makes him a factor, regardless of what he does out there. He's tough to get around. Also, to look at is Wally brought some pressure today. I saw multiple look where they're, you know, just leaving one high safety and going man to man, or just bringing a zero coverage and bringing the house and just having those 4 DBs play those receivers, and that's some supreme confidence in your defensive backfield. And that's another thing that I like when I was talking about Sam Richardson earlier in the depth. If you can bring those blitz packages, he must be confident in what he has behind to play those guys. Well, it's exciting times. We've got all summer. We're going to be hashing this out. We'll be doing our podcast. We'll do a few videos. Austin, thanks for sticking around to do this today. We are going to go do a little trivia.
Size, house,
hopefully the Cyclone Fanatic Wilson Toyota team can avoid
let's get out of the cellar.
Getting out of the cellar this year. But thanks for tuning in to all of our spring coverage, everybody. We will see you again soon. Thanks for coming to CycloneFanatic.com.